at the streets, full of stones and trash. Nobody comes out to clean.
When you're at Broad Street, you're in the good lands. And the further you move away from Broad Street, the less prosperity that you see.
One of these neighborhoods around here is the second poorest community in the United States. A little farther north and east of here, up around what the police call the Badlands.
I don't see the city really developing a more of a real holistic plan that's going to, make it a livable environment for everybody here west of Broad.
This community has a reputation for violence and people kind of going overboard with their reactions to things. I mean, if you go around the corner, that's a block where you've had, how many murders on that block? I can't even remember.
I do rental property management. We do sales. And like any other realtor, I advertise to the open, wide world of possible buyers and possible sellers. Most of these folks have lived here 2-3 generations, and it's a very strong community. I'm considered an outsider even after 20 years. If I'm considered an outsider after 20 years, just imagine students who are transient. They don't know you. You didn't grow up here.
I remember since the 50s that fear of displacement. I recall coming home from Carver School at 17th and Norris, and the elders in the community were in a circle with brooms in hand on my sidewalk, this very sidewalk. And it's had to be probably, I would say, about 1960. And my father came and sat on the steps beside me, and he had the broom, and he was wringing his hands around the broom. And when I thought it was safe to say something, I said, "Daddy, what's Temple?" And he flew his hand toward the east, and he said, "That's those people, Temple, those people up that way, they're trying to, in the city, they're trying to make us move. They want to tear down our houses, but we ain't going nowhere. We'll be here when the bulldozers get here." And that's always, stuck with me.
When we first came here, it was only a few black families. We had white neighbors on each side, and now they're fading us out again. It was a nice area. You didn't have to go downtown. You could go right on the avenue and get whatever you want. They used to have meat markets. They used to have clothing stores. But when they had the riot, it tore up everything, and the people left.
During the 60s, there was a lot of racism going on in the area. And it all started with some police not doing what they're supposed to do, who were beating up on a couple African-American individuals, and it all started from that. It was just a movement that was going around at the time. And it happened in this area, and so everything just went wild. They burned up a lot of stuff and broke windows and all that kind of stuff, and it just happened in the area.
We had everything on Susquehanna Avenue. Stores, we didn't have to go downtown for anything. Everything was on the avenue. We had a florist, we had a bakery, had a dry goods store, hardwood store, everything up there. This used to be a school up here at the corner. That's a lot now. I went to that school.
This was all stores up here. This was all stores here. I've been doing this for a long time, for over 20 years. I guess pretty soon they're going to tell me I had to move. How you doing?
Good, how you doing?
All right.
Good.
I said, I know practically everybody in the neighborhood. Actually, everybody. This is no longer our neighborhood. The religion. I think unity has been lost among people. There's no unity. They don't support one another. That's not good.
Everybody's, is afraid, I think, to have a store. I know I would be with the way they're doing, robbing and killing people in the stores. I just thank God for the ones that are sticking around up there.
I wanted to be here because I want it to be a beacon. I want to take on that challenge. I want to change some minds. I want to do that. I'm probably the one of a few African American business owners here, and I realize it's more than just me being a business owner here in this location. I keep my door open because we have a nonprofit in the back part of this building. So people may ask me about a recycling bin. You see them sitting here. We're going to put them back in the shed. But I didn't know when I came here, to be honest, it would be through picking up trash, litter, gooky stuff.
This area has had just a tremendous amount of abandonment and, let's say, disinvestment over the years. I know people, they don't like to walk past the lots, especially at night. They don't feel very safe. You have 3 lots here. I think the city owns one. I think the housing authority owns another one. And then the last one is owned by somebody else who bought it maybe 3 or 4 years ago, thinking they might build one house here. Down here you have one house on the entire block. The rest are vacant lots owned by city agencies and probably 5 or 6 private people. Some of them may have been dead for 20 years. Habitat started here in the mid-'80s, and there was so much vacant property already at that time. You didn't really feel the impact of Temple. I used to take the subway here back then, and still between here and Temple there was it was really had a real sense of abandonment.
This is what we call La Woods of Susquehanna. And it's called La Woods because it's Woodstock Street and this is Lambert Street. So I just took the La from Lambert and the Wood from Woodstock and made it try to sound like Shangri-La or something, And we started with just doing some pots out here, just to show people we're going to be doing something in here. We leave a recycling bin out here because we like to recycle. When we clean up, we do all recycling. But somebody took my trash bag and dumped the trash in my recyclables, so we're going to deal with that.
We could use more playground areas in different sections for the young, the children to go and play.
Because they come out here and
play ball and all that.
Break up the flower pots with the ball. But they have to have some place to play, so one of those things.
We tried to develop a small park in here over the years, but that hasn't really worked out too well. Hasn't been the kind of thing that the community's really been invested in. So we're trying to come up with a better way, either to manage the park or possibly build a couple homes in here. It's situations like this that people, I think, they just try to stay away from, and they probably, I'd say, just don't have a lot of hope that anything really good's going to come back here.
I had a friend I went to school with from South Africa who came here to visit, and I toured with him and took him on a neighborhood tour because we were studying community economic development. I took him into some of the public housing authority high-rises for him to see an 18-story building where the elevator was not working. And so the people who lived on the 18th floor had to walk up the fire escape. And to take him through the fire escape where you could go 3 floors and there was no light bulbs, there was urine in the halls, and there was trash in the halls. And I mean, it was a place where you could easily be mugged, easily be raped, or anything. And he was just stunned that this was America, that this was Philadelphia, the birthplace of America.
What our block captain tries to do on a weekly basis is get everybody in the neighborhood. She goes around knocking on doors to get us to get up early in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, to clean our blocks so we can have safe and clean blocks.
One of my little junior block captains. I got 2. I don't know where the other one is. But he's a good one, McKeon.
Follow that one.
Maybe that thing is up too high.
Hey, you see the scrap up there? It looks nice. This afternoon it'll probably be trashed up. From around the corner, trash comes crawling
That's
around.
what I just told them. They walk up and down and throw their stuff, and then of course it comes into the blocks because the wind comes and blows it right on in. Then you're out here constantly trying to get it up, and as fast as you get it up, it's on again.
It's a job.
I really think the young people should take over and start, cleaning up and start helping and start working with us older people, because they're going to be here when we are gone. Otherwise they're going to lose it, tell you.
I like being block captain. I say I've been for over 45 years, but I wanted some of the young ones to take it, but they said no, they'd just rather work with me.
And how did you become a
And when he grows up, he'll be a good one. He's a good one right now.
The program itself is pretty simple. The kids come after school. After coming about 20 hours with the classes, they earn their bike. We literally have a whole bunch of used bikes that are donated to us by whomever, and the kids fix them up. If they need new parts, we're usually able to, be accommodating there. We'll show them bike mechanics, we'll show them bike safety. Some days we'll take them out on rides. Some days it's rainy like it is today, so they do have to stay inside in the shop, and they don't like to be cooped up, but we find ways to deal with it.
I'm first. All right. We got the one.
My turn?
Yeah.
I think I got you. Yeah, I got you.
The school achieved a new purpose, if you allowed it to. It became a community service. But in the 220 children that are in the school, there aren't 10 of them who are Catholic. But it still seems worth doing. It's an effort in creating a situation in which there is more opportunity than, say, in the public schools, which are too large and in many cases unsafe. Our statistics are very, very much more encouraging than, say, in local public schools. Attendance is 95%. All the children go through high school and finish high school and go on to college.
As of right now, we're 12-0, undefeated. We only gave up 12 points all year long, 2 touchdowns.
Shuffle.
We take everything real serious. We don't really look at the scoreboard. We keep playing hard from the first whistle to the last whistle, but it's up to us to keep them level-headed and let them know it ain't always going to be this easy. It ain't always going to be a situation where you can just walk on the field and have the idea that you're better than everybody you play against. It's going to get harder. With us being in the inner city and us being a non-profit organization, the financial portion is unbelievable. Generally, the trip to Disney costs between $25,000 and $30,000 to send a full team and their coaches out there. That breaks down to about $850 per person to send them out there for the week trip.
One of the roles I had to take on here was that of a fundraiser. There's no direct state aid to Catholic schools, parish, parochial schools, and there's no money in these neighborhoods. I mean, there's a lot of unemployment, a lot of poverty.
A lot of our children don't come from households that can afford that with a week's notice. But at the same token, they still kids and they worked hard to get to this point. So it basically comes down to the adults. We got to make sure it happens. So that means we got to fundraise, we got to take donations, we got to ask, we got to stick our hand out and take whatever is available for us to receive.
It really says about commitment of the people who are in charge of the Blackhawks and the parents. If you can take young people and you can steer them in the right direction with some positive and positive leadership, they can do all kinds of things.
Because it has to happen here. It can't always be coming from the outside, It has to come from the residents.
The block captains in other areas, they have a contest every year for the best block. We would never win it because of the landlords and the student housing. We would never win it. You won't, because they don't care. You understand?
Students now are moving in deeper into the community. They weren't this deep. They were down on the 16th Street side, but now they're deep in the community. Okay, because they're moving. Because there's still community people living in here, in some of these small streets. And students, were trying to study, and they're not necessarily interested in relating. But somehow people have to start to come together.
I remember when they had the riot, and my mother, we was sitting on the step. I remember seeing people running up the street with washing machines on TVs. Oh, it was horrible. They just hurt their own self. It was senseless. But that's the young people think like that. They want to tear up something, you know, if they hurt. But that doesn't solve anything. It really does.
There is something going on that kids or people in the community don't like because the students are there. So what do? They mark the building up. There's another house standing there with graffiti. When you start looking at the graffiti, it tells you things. There's another one over there. The same way when people go by, people go by in your community and you've done something wrong to them, and come back, what? They scratch your car up, okay, or flatten your tire, okay? You understand what I'm saying? Now you've seen that in your neighborhood, right? Students stay up, they party hard, they do things, or the students are living and don't relate to the community. All I'm saying is they marked it, and if they marked it, there's something going on if it's marked. Students are human beings like other people, but so the fact of the matter is, because you're a student doesn't mean that you can't live in the community. So as long as your head's in the right place and you try to do things along with the community, it should not be a problem.
Most of the Temple students are from out of town, like in, the outskirts, Bucks County and stuff like that. When you go out there, when I ride out there, you can pretty much eat off the ground. But out here, they treat it different. They definitely do.
The same way how they act in their own neighborhood, where they live at, you living down here now, you should still act the same way you would act up there. If you're gonna live down here, you already know it's dirty down here. We all can go outside and see that. But all I'm saying, don't make it even more dirty. You wanna come out and say how you cut?
Yeah. It's better for the neighborhood since I guess Temple students moved on this side of Broad Street. It's safer around here now, and but there's more police presence.
I mean, don't get me wrong, because before they start, building everything around here, like a lot of them stores and all that stuff up there, it wasn't there. So, I mean, it is, don't get me wrong, it is helping out the community, whereas though
you ain't got, it's not for us.
True, but you ain't got to walk 1,001 miles to near here. So, I mean, it do got,
only because of them.
Got its good and its bad.
I think the irony of it is that people in the inner cities eat also. It amazes me how some of the major chains have abandoned the big cities, as if all of a sudden the urban areas stopped eating, or stopped washing their clothes, or stopped using toothpaste. Hence you find an influx of super drugstores selling things that when I was a child, drugstores never sold. Now I'm sure the opening of our supermarket has affected the drugstore that's across the street. It's been a positive effect on the neighborhood. Jobs, convenience, and we look good. And who doesn't want something in their neighborhood that looks good? It became kind of a beacon in north central Philadelphia, which is kind of what Reverend Sullivan wanted. But it also became a landmark and a point of pride for the neighborhood.
You need strong people to keep a neighborhood moving, keep a neighborhood going. You need elders to be involved. You need us when you see the children being disrespectful or doing something they should be doing.
One or two people can't keep things together. It takes cooperation of everybody to keep things going and keep it together. Try to keep it together.
If you don't love what you do, if you don't love your community and the people around you, then you don't need to be here. Because as soon as the money stops, then you would stop. But because I live here and I love people, then we're going to keep moving. We're going to keep moving on this,
I belong to the Block Captains Association. Everybody doesn't belong to that. But I do. And I go to other meetings and I hear other things. How people feel. They're not leaving. Most of the old ones are not leaving.
There's sufficient folks here, including this plaza, that are a part of the culture of this area. And we're not going to let it die. We're not going to let it die.
So the dilemma 10 years from now will be, are we running to students or are we running to the community?
I think a lot of people who live in the neighborhoods are just sort of not certain of what the impact is going to be on them in the coming years, and they certainly would love to see as much like dialogue and and outreach from Temple as possible.
What I long for is for Temple University to be a part of the fabric of our community to the extent that it is a helper at the nitty-gritty level where people like myself exist.
I use the word that hasn't been used in a long, long time. Begins with an I. It's called integration. And it's something that Temple needs to do a better job of in our neighborhoods. They need to do a better job of orientating students that even though it's not their neighborhood, it is their home.
Temple wants to talk about how they don't have money. Some of these things don't even cost money. Communicating one to another doesn't cost any money. So I think some of these problems could be resolved if we would sit down and have a respectful conversation.
Too many people are afraid of sitting down at the table with Temple because they think that they'll take the information and run away with it and go do whatever they want and use it against us to run us out. So, I don't know. I'm willing to try again. That's all I know.
I'm still looking